Oh, no, 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 no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bye, 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 bye. Start all over. Wanna ride you like a Land Rover. Forget about the code. She a did the code. She said she gonna make me fall for a Casanova. 9 shots over. Yeah, still a push me from the sofa. Everything done, I where we a go for. In a little while, wifey coming over. Tell me what am I to do? Another girl falling again. What am I to do? Man falling a trouble.
Welcome to the Scale by Design Challenge. We're excited to host this one-of-a-kind platform that aims to elevate innovative solutions to global problems.
I want to make the utmost benefit from this opportunity.
But what is Scale by Design? Here's how it works. Teams from around the world are selected to participate in a year-long program that builds core skills for developing innovative ideas to work on a bigger scale. This year-long program, the Scale by Design Accelerator, is inspired by private sector approaches to rapidly design, test, and iterate bold new ideas.
I'm excited, I'm nervous, but it's gonna be cool, I think.
Teams also learn presentation best practices in order to prepare for pitch night, where they will make the case for why their work is suitable for scale.
We'll get ready for the pitch because the pitch is everything.
Scale by Design arms development practitioners with the skills that they need to go from idea to impact.
I'm Michelle Nunn. I'm the CEO of CARE, and it is so great to be with you all. We have a very inspirational opportunity before us tonight to celebrate extraordinary change agents from around the world. And I'm going to start with a little bit of a story, and it's the story of a group of what I think of as incredible creative, bold, and innovative change agents who came together after World War II, and they said, we're not going to stand on the sidelines while millions of people face starvation. And what they did was they came up with the idea of a care package. And within 4 months, they delivered 20,000 care packages to post-World War II Europe, to France, and then shortly thereafter to Germany, who we'd just been fighting. And over the course of the next couple of decades, we shipped and delivered 100 million care packages. So that's pretty amazing, right? So tonight, we celebrate that same spirit of creativity, of audacity, and of boldness of CARE. 75 years later, we look a lot different 75 years later. We are operating in 95 different countries. We, last year, participated in over 900 plus projects. We touched over and reached over and impacted more than 60 million people. So we're still operating at scale, but we know that we can and must do more. And so we are here tonight with that impulse, with that sensibility, that we want to follow in the footsteps of those who have said we want to overcome poverty and we want to achieve social justice. And we don't believe that that's quixotic. We don't believe that that's impossible. We believe that's within our grasp. So 3 years ago, we started a program at CARE called Scale by Design. It's an accelerator. It takes from the private sector model of taking businesses in that instance and helping them to grow. And what we said is we want to grow ideas that have the capacity to touch hundreds of thousands of more people. And that's what we've done. We've put people, teams of folks, through a program that lasts for a year, that gives them the opportunity to have mentors, to have virtual training, and then to come together for a boot camp over the last week or so. They've been here in Atlanta. And what they are going to do now is to share with you their ideas and to, in essence, to pitch to you what they believe can change the world. So we've had 28 teams go through the accelerator. 27 of them are still working. And we've seen one team, for instance, that's gone from assisting and supporting 20,000 farmers to, in the last 2 years, now supporting 40,000 farmers. That deserves an applause for sure. A team that has a gender-based violence curriculum in the Balkans has now taken that curriculum and it's been adopted in every country in the Balkans just in the last 2 years. Yeah, get those clappers ready, practice. And then, as another example, a curriculum that was adopted by a group of team care members has been put in place now, focused on girls' education in science and technology, and it's been adopted through the entire state, the largest state in India. So that is just a little window into the success of some of these teams. Let me tell you that the second cohort of teams that came through last year got funding through Scale by Design. Half of them got funding and investment. So our hope is that the third round of teams, this group of team members will get, 100% of them will get funding and investment. That's where you come in. So tonight, we will choose a winner, but really we have 10 teams that could all be winners and should be winners. And you all have the capacity to make them winners, and that is through investing and supporting our efforts here. So we have a variety of ways that you can do that. One is that you can go to your handy app and you can donate now. And there's something on there that says 25K donation, matching gift. We have a donor who's made a gift, and she has said that for every dollar that gets invested over the next 10 days of our Scale by Design here in Atlanta challenge, in San Francisco and New York, she'll match every dollar. And if it says 25K, somebody today said, you might think that if you push this button that you're donating 25K. That's not, don't worry, you can push that button and you can donate $1, you can donate $25, or you can donate 25K. But the other way that you can support is you can say, I want to really get invested in one of these teams that I hear from tonight. And you can say, I want to connect them with pro bono support. I want to offer them technical assistance. I want to connect them with my company. Or you might decide you want to invest in them, invest in their ideas. And you can do that as well. You can specifically invest in these teams. So that is our hope tonight, is that you will invest in these teams. And I'll tell you that there are 5 teams that you're going to hear from, but there are 10 teams that are participating overall. And I wanted to let you know that every single one of these teams has an idea that can change their community and that can change the world. And I want you to be introduced to all of these teams. So I'm going to ask all of the teams that are participants to stand up right now. So take a good look. Take a good look at these team members, and I hope that you'll take time to get to know them, to talk to them during the reception, and to really look forward to hearing about how you can partner with them to create change. We would not be here tonight without the support of some generous sponsors and partners. And that includes Delta Airlines, Western Union, and FistServe. So can you all give them a huge round of applause? We are also in this very cool and hip space thanks to Turner Studios. And one of our judges, Laura, you're going to hear from. But really grateful for the donation of this space. So you all are going to hear from the team members tonight. They're going to share their ideas, their visions, and their dreams. But we want to be able to show you a little bit about what that looks like. So we have a short video from one of our teams that's not here, that you're not going to hear from tonight, but that we hope that you'll be able to see, and they're from Jordan. So take a look at how they're changing lives today and every day.
It's very sad to see a mother with her kids with no food or shelter.
Individuals in these communities have to live on less than $2 a day. One woman had to feed her 3 boys only tea and bread for days.
The women participating in this program are very vulnerable, very poor.
The Battery program promotes women's participation, turning them into community advocates who can change the attitudes of their own communities on women's economic participation. The more support we can secure for this kind of activity in Jordan, the better for everyone. I feel that I'm carrying the aspirations and the challenges of average Jordanian women. What keeps me going is the successes being made by women every day.
Hello, my name is Dar Vanderbeck. I have the pleasure of being the Chief Innovation Officer for CARE. Let's have fun tonight, okay? Are you guys ready? Okay, that was a good start. We have to practice. You have those little orange clappy things and the other orange thing, I think, right? Okay, so we're gonna just test out the room and see where we really feel the energy. So let's start here. Just 1 second, just clap with all your might. Okay, let's do the middle. Okay, over here. Kind of a dark horse over here, good job. So I'm so excited to introduce you to tonight. A little bit about CARE that Michelle kind of started us off with, but one of the most amazing things about getting to be a part of CARE is that over the 70 years and hundreds of countries we worked all over the world in the front lines of social change, we know one thing, which is that we will never be able to end the injustice of poverty until people of all genders are equal. And that is a very important insight. And we know that women and girls are at the heart on the front lines fighting for a new world every single day, in every neighborhood, in every workplace, in every country we all touch. We have an opportunity tonight to hear from some of our most incredible leaders leading that work. And they're coming from 11 countries, a lot of them first time in Atlanta. So I'm gonna make you clap again. Let's give them a hearty welcome to Atlanta. And one of the incredible things that you'll really learn about tonight is how joyous and solemn and profound some of their work is. And while we have incredible strides and we're making so much progress, there's also, how do I say it? The pace of change is frustrating. It's frustrating from the young woman in Zambia that you'll hear from tonight who has to miss school 3 days a month every time she gets her period. It's frustrating for the young girl in Morocco who won't be able to break the cycle of poverty if she can't go to school and can't read. And it's frustrating for the woman in Cambodia who works 90 hours a week but still can't make a living wage. And it's not actually just frustrating, it's unacceptable. And that's why we started the Scale by Design Accelerator, because that pace of change is unacceptable for today. We identify the most breakthrough, game-changing innovations that are making a more just world. We work with them over the course of a year, and then you have the pleasure tonight of being able to hear them on stage compete for a prize and support in their pathway to scale. So I just want to frame it up that this is a very important night that we're about to embark on together. A quick show of hands from the audience. So who has pitched before in front of a room of hundreds, or even in front of a room of 10? Okay, great. And who's done it in your second language? Or your third language, fourth language? Oh, it's just our teams. Oh, their teams are. So let's really quickly just give them some really hearty acknowledgement for the just bravery and badassery of the teams getting up in front of us. So on to the program tonight. You will hear from 5 teams who will pitch for 5 minutes, and then be able to have some Q&A with our esteemed panel of judges, which we'll introduce later, for about 3 minutes. And one of the most exciting things is that you as an audience will have the opportunity to vote. And because tonight in Atlanta, we don't stand for voter suppression, I also suggest you, nice. You download the app. So these are the instructions. I won't read them to you. You can ask any one of, if you have care staff, can you guys just raise your hand to give support? They're on the back. Okay, great. Make sure you download the app. You'll be able to vote on your favorite team at the end, and you will also be able to generously give to invest in these teams. We're looking for investment that's financial, but also for your expertise, for your networks, for your wisdom. So really reach out to us. You have a team of people in the back. Let's shout it out again. You look around. Okay, cool. That are here to guide you through that. And again, I'm just so excited to welcome you guys here to hear our incredible colleagues and teams that make me so proud to work for CARE every day. So without further ado, I will introduce our incredible MC for the night, Frederica of CNN. Frederica Whitfield, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Can everybody hear me okay? I do tend to project even if the microphone is not working. So glad you all are here. You know, we all have a common thread among us. We are here because we believe in what CARE is doing, lending a helping hand. And it has nothing, or maybe just a little bit to do with the little hand clappers you've got there. But we are talking about, as Michelle and Dar explained, a commitment since 1945. And what's unique here is you will be inspired by some real visionaries who are digging deep, thinking about the needs of their communities, being especially mindful of children and women. And they are bringing their designs to fruition. And as we celebrate the 10 who have been in the running here, we are going to listen to those pitches of those last standing 5. Representing countries of Cambodia, the Philippines, and countries from my birth continent of Africa, Zambia, Ethiopia, and Morocco. First, I'd love to introduce you to our panel of esteemed judges here. They're going to introduce themselves, and then we will get going.
Excellent. I guess I'm starting. Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Dames. I am the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Turner Studios, so welcome to Turner Studios. I'm excited to have you here. I am also one of the co-chairs of Turner Women, which is an organization to support and empower and equip women to deal with headwinds in corporate environment, specifically Turner. So this is near and dear to my heart. So thank you so much for being here. We're excited to have you here, and I'm excited to be a part of it. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marcus Sabbs. I am the managing director at the Carter Malik Group. From Americus, Georgia. All right. Americus is really small, so we might be cousins. But went to Morehouse College. I'm a former educator. Right now at the Carter Malik Group, we partner with Atlanta Public Schools, focusing on the economic development of the communities within the school districts. And so I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really excited to hear the pitches tonight. So thank you for having me.
Good evening. I'm glad to be here. My name is Robin Boggs. I am the Corporate Citizenship Director for Accenture here in the United States. Every day I get to make decisions about nonprofits across the U.S. who are doing tremendous work to help people get the skills that they need to get jobs and build businesses. Our goal is to make sure that every person has an opportunity to provide a sustainable livelihood for themselves and their families. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm a native Atlantan. Glad to be connecting with CARE. Fun to be on this side of the judging table again. Last year we actually sponsored an innovation challenge with many of the universities we recruit from, and CARE was our selected nonprofit last year, so thrilled to be back here and be a part of this.
Wonderful. All right, thank you, Robin, Laura, and Marcus. All righty, let's get started. Do we have butterflies? Particularly of the 5 teams? All right, these are good. This is good energy butterflies. We like this. All right, so in Ethiopia, the lives of adolescent girls are too often constrained and threatened by early marriage. Child marriage rates are near 40%. TESFA organizes early married girls to fight for their finances and for their sexual and reproductive health. Already, modern contraception use has increased by 27%, so very effective, with increased savings and a decline in domestic violence. From CARE Ethiopia, please welcome Tesfa.
Thank you very much. Hi everyone, my name is Atis. And this is Helen. Who in this audience has a 12-year-old girl in their lives? Could be daughters, could be nieces, could be granddaughters. All right. Now imagine if tomorrow was her wedding day. The average 12-year-old girl in the US goes to school, saved up for her college, and basic needs provided. And the average parent worries if this girl becomes sexually active without being ready. Unfortunately, the reality is different in Ethiopia. In rural Ethiopia, girls at the age of 12 are married to the older parents, to their older husbands, with a big communication and power relation problem. Despite the fact that child marriage has been declining the past decades, it still accounts for 40%. Now imagine these girls convincing their husbands to go to school and use family planning methods.
Meet Ehetnat. Ehetnat was forced to marry at the age of 12. She dropped out of school right after she gave birth to her child after 3 days of labor at home. She was entirely financially dependent on her husband, and her husband wouldn't let her leave her house unaccompanied. She was financially dependent, and she had no friends, and she couldn't go visit her family. She felt alone. This is not the story of just Ehetnat. This is the story of many girls living in rural parts of Ethiopia. So to help these girls, CARE launched Tesfa, meaning hope. CARE brings the girls together to help them delay pregnancy and continue their education. And we discovered the magic formula. That is, we let the girls into the group, and then we help them save and do businesses and discuss about their sexual reproductive health. And also we bring the community to support them. These are the community leaders, the religious leaders, their husbands, and the most influential person in the girl's life. Yep, their mother-in-laws. So we bring the community together and explore why things are the way they are and explore if there's a better way in doing things.
Coming back to Ehetnat's story, after she joined Tesfa, she started saving, she started her own business selling coffee beans, and she now owns her own bank account that she herself controls. Not only things changed in her life, but also her relationship with her husband improved. He encouraged her to take family planning, reminds her when her next appointment is at the service, and we've only achieved this without making the husband lean in. So when asked Ehetnat how she would summarize the experience she had with Tesfa, she only used 2 words. Ndagana tolidjallo, meaning born again.
So Tesfa model has been proven to be effective. We are able to increase the girls' use of family planning by 27%. And the girls' saving and being involved in business income-generating activities increased by 75%. And the parents and the community came together to prevent 300 early marriages. Not only that, for the past 8 years, this model has transformed nearly 36,000 girls' lives and 500,000 community members.
So that is why we want to scale Tesfa to a bigger region called South Gondar with an estimated population of 2.5 million. And we are very confident we can reach this population given how fast-paced Tesfa was over the past 8 years. Scaling up our model to the government would give us the chance to scale up and reach all these girls that we want to target. And that can also be achieved by training 20 government officials on our models for only $11,000, and of course having an accreditation to the model with an amount of $89,000. And of course finding skills to help us tell the story of these girls through using different social medias.
So TESFA is changing lives, even after CARE left the area. That is why we want to scale up this model. And rest assured that your investment is going to bring a sustainable impact. Because after 3 years of implementation of TESFA, we went back and we found out that 100% of the girls group continue to meet and continue to save without CARE's intervention. Not only that, 60%. So 60% of the girls group replicated, either forming new groups by themselves or letting new girls join their group. So for the next phase of TESFA, we're planning to hand over the model to the government partner so that they could take it up and scale it by themselves. So I'm going to leave you with one quote. We asked one of our participants, her name is Samu Shumet, we asked her, what's the most significant thing that TESFA brought you? And she said that my parents didn't show me how to live my life. TESFA did. TESFA is my family.
This is Adi Salam and Helen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So stay put. Stay put. Laura, you want to begin with a question or inquiry about TESFA?
Sure. First of all, great job. Thank you so much for your presentation. So it's my job. We have 3 minutes to ask a question. So my question for you is, you mentioned also working with the community. Obviously, the girls can only do so much, and they need to be supported by the community around them. And so my question to you is, what are the challenges that you have faced in those communities, and how have you overcome those challenges?
Okay, so as you said, we help the girls by involving the community. And when we first implemented the project, we gathered a couple of community leaders and influential people, and we started talking about reproductive health, using contraceptives, family planning, birth control, and it was not comfortable for them, and they were suspicious. But once they got to know what our aim is, they accepted us and go on.
So my follow-up question to that is, that sounds like a lot of interpersonal work. It takes, a lot of convincing of people with personal interactions. And so have you seen that over community? You said 6,000 girls you have impacted for the?
36,000.
36. Have there been multiple communities, multiple gatekeepers, multiple leaders, and how is that approached by the girls themselves or by the organization?
So we have girls group that is composed of adolescent girls, and we have the community group that is composed of influential people in the community, like religious leaders, community leaders, and the husbands, the mother-in-laws. So these are the groups, and by convincing them, like we are not only working on the girls, but the community groups are there to support the girls. Like if we are talking about early marriage, we can't just prevent it by talking to the girls group only. So the community leaders are there to support the girls.
Excellent.
And also as part of community leaders, there is elite leaders, tribal leaders, and of course the government is part of the core groups that we organize to come and have the dialogue with the girls group.
Excellent. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, CARE Ethiopia and Laura, thank you very much. Okay, a lot of times when we all go to the grocery stores, we're just thinking about grabbing the food that's in the package or in a box or in a bag. Well, guess what? 30% of the world's food comes from small farms. Yet there are few people to actually fight for those farmers. Their needs are often overlooked by the market. For 5.7 million smallholder farmers in the Philippines, AGAP is creating a social enterprise model that offers a range of solutions for those smallholder farmers and a package of agricultural services. From CARE Philippines, Please welcome AGAP.
My name is Tess.
I am Adele.
Call me Jason.
And we are the AGAP team.
Magandang buhay!
In the Philippines, agriculture is the backbone of the economy. But most farmers are not giant corporations. Their farms are approximately the size of 1 or 2 football fields. These farmers are very poor and they are at risk. We know that climate change is happening everywhere, and the Philippines is the 4th most affected country by extreme weather events. We are struck by an average of 20 typhoons each year. AGAP is a Filipino word that means to be always prepared. Our AGAP solution is about uplifting the small-scale farmers. Meet Prelin, a typical Filipino farmer. She and her family earns $100 each month from rice, corn, and small vegetable garden, hardly making ends meet. Though land is available, she's only using about 15% of it to farm. Why does Prelin don't expand her farm and earn more? The thing is that it's difficult for her to do that. She relies on traditional farming practices. These methods are practically not profitable. And she wants to learn new techniques, but she doesn't know where to get it. She's also having difficulty getting seeds, fertilizers, and tools. She has to travel 2 hours and spend $1 in order to buy $5 worth of supplies. Like farmers in the Philippines, Prelin's crops are affected by increasingly extreme weather conditions.
We have 5.7 million farmers just like Frelin. By 2050, our country needs to increase its food production by 60% to feed our growing population. Instead, it is expected to decrease by 25% due to climate change. We need to increase our farmers' produce, and we need to do it fast. AGAP's mission is to help farmers produce more and increase their income. We will train roving agents to deliver information on latest farming techniques. These agents will also deliver a gender-friendly package of seeds, fertilizers, and tools right at the doorstep of farmers. Essentially, they provide a starter kit for farmers who are ready to embrace modern farming technologies. Our AGAP roving agents are also great connectors in the community. They will link farmers to traders who will buy their produce. And finally, AGAP roving agents are reliable advisors on sources of financial services and microinsurance, ensuring that farmers are protected from risk and has access to capital whenever they need it. Last September, Frelin was convinced to buy our package and try the new techniques. 3 months later, her farm expanded. Her productivity increased 50% and earned $200, contributing to a 100% increase in monthly income.
Our pilot of AGAP had the following results. 87% of farmers are using new technologies. Their costs are going down. Transportation costs decreased 80%. Farmers increased their yields by 50%, and overall income increased by $50.
Our next step is to transform AGAP from a donor-funded project to a social enterprise. We are targeting 200,000 farming households in the next 5 years. To get AGAP to this scale, our priority actions in the next 3 years are, first, build AGAP's network of roving agents. Second, develop a mobile platform that could help our roving agents communicate and support farmers. And finally, develop an AGAP package that could be delivered after a disaster hits a community.
We are looking for at least $100,000 to establish AGAP's core operations team and to recruit and train roving agents. We also need pro bono support to develop customer relations management platform, including mobile-based systems for communicating with farmers.
These are the farmers that are feeding our nation. Let's all help them to be always prepared, whatever may come their way.
We are thriving!
We are ready!
Support AGAP!
Okay, so Robin, you have a question or inquiry?
Thank you so much for your presentation. You talked about several different aspects to your program. You talked about the agents, the mobile platform, et cetera. Which of those do you think is the most important component of the solution?
And before you answer that, if I could just remind you, you need to turn to the audience and give your reply to the audience, even though you're answering the judge's questions.
All right.
We got cameras in the room.
Sure.
Okay.
So, yeah, the solution for AGAP is managing the whole supply chain. Down from the suppliers, financial service providers, business development service providers, and our scalers. This part of the supply chain is linked to the roving agents. So I could say that the most crucial part of our solution is the roving agents, because they package the scattered solutions already available in the Philippines, but not reaching to our farmers.
Yes.
And with the roving agents, what part of the activity that they spend is sort of technical, meaning putting their supply chain expertise to work, versus relationship building?
I can say everything the farmers will need, the roving agents will provide. They're like, I always say this, that they're like an Avon agent with Amazon for agriculture in their backpack.
Yes.
If they need seeds, they could provide.
Yes.
If they need technical assistance on financial services,
They can link.
market, insurance, they will link the farmers to the solutions provider.
And as you have started to expand this program already, what has been the biggest barrier that you have faced in getting the communities and the farmers to adopt it?
Yeah, we thought that the biggest barrier now is looking for those roving agents, but we are very confident, knowing the communities and having worked with them, that we can get those passionate community members, leaders, who wants to also make a change among the members of the community.
So you're going to source the agents from the communities in which
Yes.
you're going to be serving?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I think that's it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Karen, Philippines, and Robin, thank you. Okay, I know we've got some gentlemen in here, but ladies, this one's for you. Don't you remember how difficult it may have been when, and I'm really getting personal here, when you had your menstruation cycle, when your period started, if I could break it down for you? I remember how difficult that was to navigate. Perhaps, I mean, what words come to mind? Was it surprising? Was it shocking? Was it uncomfortable? So just think about this. If you're living in Zambia, a possibility is you don't go to school because your menstruation starts. There's inadequate access to supplies. There's a lack of instruction on what to do. So these absences from school leads to high dropout rates and low test scores. The Kozo Girls initiative fights this stigma by offering cost-effective, reusable sanitary pads. To date, the initiative has sold over 4,000 pads. From PACT, please welcome Kozo Girls.
Please have a Kozo pad.
Just a quick warning to all the gentlemen that are here tonight that we're about to talk about menstruation. However, you are not allowed to leave this room. First of all, we would like to show you this short film. I can relate to the girl in the film. My name is Emily Lubinda, and that's me on the left when I was 17 years old in my native Zambia. I used to miss school 2 to 3 times every month because I could not afford to buy sanitary pads. I remember one time I did not have pads. I had to cut the pocket out of my uniform to use as a menstrual pad. I leaked anyway, and I went home immediately. It was so embarrassing that I had to miss school the following day, and I had to miss a test. Being a girl, I felt excluded, hopeless, and it was so difficult to catch up. This is one common problem for girls in my country. One product that would have helped me is this reusable sanitary pad. I want to convince you to support our social enterprise, which is a group of young Zambian women making reusable sanitary pads. The social impact of Kozo Girls is in twofold. Firstly, Kozo Girls gives skill training and livelihood opportunities to young women like myself. Secondly, our aim is to provide Kozo pads to as many schoolgirls as possible in Zambia. Our vision is a Zambia where no girl should miss school just because she is a girl. As you can see, Kozo pads are attractive products. Using this chitenge fabric makes it look authentically Zambian because every woman in Zambia owns at least one chitenge fabric. There are over 1.5 million women and girls in Zambia of reproductive age living below poverty line in Zambia, meaning that their periods would probably be keeping them home rather than at work or at school. And not addressing this issue would literally be holding my country back.
Just checking, we've still got all the gentlemen in the room. Excellent. So we have sold over 4,000 pads to date, but we want to do so much more. We have a valid plan to scale, but we need your support. So our current model is to sell these pads in bulk to service providers who then distribute them free of charge to end users. In Zambia, this market includes over 300 NGOs working on girls' education and water and sanitation, and the government of Zambia, which has publicly pledged to give pads to keep girls in school. Many of these groups are already giving out menstrual hygiene items as part of their programming, but usually they're giving single-use disposable pads, which are less cost-effective for their program. We estimate around $24 more expensive per girl per year as compared to giving them reusable pads, and less impactful for the girls receiving the pads, especially if they receive pads as part of a one-off donation, and obviously also worse for the environment. There are so many opportunities for Kozo Girls in Zambia. Right now, there is a UN agency looking for a supplier of 36,000 reusable pads per year. $20,000 would enable us to double our production and stand a good chance of meeting the requirements for that bid and for other bids like it. Obviously, more than 20,000 would enable us to do lots of other things. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to go into those now. Emily is our manager in training, and along with the 9 other Kozo girls, she is earning money by making an essential consumer item that is needed by girls and women all over Zambia, today, every day, and forever. And in a country where young women are the most vulnerable group to new HIV infections due to poverty, and where 1/5 of girls are skipping school every month on their period, the social return on investment in COSA girls is huge, and we have a viable plan and a market that is ready for our product.
That beautiful woman you see sitting on that machine, that is me. Sitting on that machine makes me feel so proud because I can contribute financially to my household. And knowing that I'm sewing this pad on that machine, knowing that it will help a girl out there who and doesn't have to go through what I went through. Ziko Mokwambiri.
All right, COSO girls, Marcus has some questions for you. And if you could remember to face the audience when you respond.
Great, thank you. Just want to say I'm clearly the most qualified judge. And the beads of sweat in my forehead, that's just my confidence coming through right now. So my first question is, do you all have a patent for this product, and what is your current competition in the market?
I'm sorry, I actually have a hearing problem. I'm finding it a bit hard to hear what you're saying.
Yeah, sure. I said, do you all currently have a patent for the product, and what's your current competition in the market?
Okay. So this is not yet patented, and we're not even shy about sharing our patent. I mean, when Emily mentioned there's 1.5 million girls and women living below the poverty line in Zambia, we'll happily give them our patent. They can sew their own pads.
Wow. That's amazing.
And
so
there is some competition.
Mm-hmm.
There are several other groups making reusable pads, but none of them are trying to scale in the way that we are. We think our biggest competition within Zambia is from disposable products, and there are some groups who are already distributing reusable products as part of their programming, NGOs, etc., but they're bringing them in from outside of Zambia. They're not being made within Zambia, so they're not benefiting the local economy.
Great, great. And so just to ask a little bit about the design, what improvements have you all made since the inception to lower your margins? And what plans do you make to continue to try to lower your margins so that you can be able to scale the product?
She can't get you.
I'm sorry.
I'm really sorry. I'm finding it really hard to hear.
What I said was, what improvements have you all made to the design in order to lower your margins so that you have a better capability to scale the product?
Okay, the first improvement that we've made is with the poppers that hold the pad. At first, we were using the ones that we saw, and it took much of our time to start sewing. So we just use these. We just punch in. It just takes a second just to punch in. And the other thing, we've also been able to find a fabric that is more absorbent. Thank you.
But the fabrics that we use at the moment are all sourced within Zambia.
Okay.
And one thing that we would definitely use investment for is to do more research and experiment with different kinds of technical fabrics, which can be thinner. If you see this pad, it's a little bit thick for our liking. We would love to be able to use thinner but more absorbent fabrics, but they're not available in Zambia at the moment. So that's the kind of thing we would use investment for. But at the moment, because we need to scale, we don't have the economies of scale to start bringing in those kinds of fabrics from overseas.
Great. My last question is, I heard that you mentioned that the local government has already pledged to support this initiative. Do you all already have a relationship, or how are you planning to build that relationship to get involved?
Yes, we do have a relationship. Before coming here, of course, we had to meet with the Minister of Education, who's very eager to work with us.
Yeah, so the Ministry of Education, we met with them literally the week before we came here. They actually have a program where they're paying school fees for 25,000 Zambian school, like the most vulnerable girls in Zambia, through a World Bank-funded program, and they're interested in giving them all pads. So that would be that's another example of a big contract that we could potentially win.
Great, that's amazing. Good luck.
If we get investment.
All right. Kozo girls. And Marcus, thank you so much. Thanks. Of course, already we've been inspired by a lot of these great stories, right? To the extent of already raising $1,000 tonight. But perhaps with your generosity, you might be able to match last night's number of $4,725. So for all of you who've got your apps, you've got your electronic devices, or perhaps at home, you can go to donatesxd.org. Okay, so I think worldwide when people say they're going to get work, they're looking for work, they instinctively will want to go to the big city. A lot of times it's kind of a choice, but more commonly these days it's becoming a need, particularly if you are in Vietnam, where rapid urbanization and the shrinking of the agricultural sector has forced millions of people to migrate to big cities to find that work. We're talking about 1.2 million people who are moving to urban areas every year, and of this, 60% are women. These women often lack skills, however, to get a decent working job in the city. So they face poor working conditions and they're marginalized due to the fact that they have their migrant status. So You Me Capital offers a one-stop shop solution for migrant women to provide a stable job, some training, and some real hope. From CARE Vietnam, please welcome You Me Capital.
Hi everyone, I am Minh. I am the CEO of Giúp Việc, a job matching startup in Vietnam, just like TaskRabbit and Handy in USA. And my dream is to become the first unicorn in Vietnam.
My name is Nha.
And I'm Takara, and we're from CARE Vietnam. Our dream is a more just world for urban migrant women.
So imagine you are Thum, a 35-year-old mother who had to leave behind their children at home and to go to live in the big city so she could earn a better income. Thum is now working as a vendor on the street of Hanoi. She sells brooms, toilet brushes, or on a bicycle. People harass her for just doing her job. Now I have a question for you. What do you daydream about? You may dream about a beautiful home or even becoming a millionaire. But Thum's dream is very simple. She just wants to earn $200 per month, just enough to make ends meet and send money back home to raise her children. There are thousands of women like Thum going to work in the city, but they don't have a stable job and face very difficult working conditions. They are also considered unbankable. There are no financial services available for them. I have a dream of a world where women like Thum can have, first, a stable job, second, enough money to have a decent life, and last but not least, have a social support network to lean on.
That's where our solution, Urban Migrant Capital, or You Me Capital, comes in. Our partnership is a first of a kind in Asia to bring together a technology startup, a banking partner, and an NGO to improve the well-being of urban migrant women. You Me Capital is doing development differently. Our solution integrates and leverages three business models: a job matching platform which links migrant women with clients who need home cleaning services. Second, a banking partner who offers microloans and an e-wallet similar to Apple Pay. And third, CARE, who offers savings groups and access to social support networks. CARE's savings groups are a proven model. They are self-managed groups of 20 to 30 women who meet regularly to save money, access small loans, and get emergency insurance.
Yep, and now back to Thum. Women like her can normally earn $2,000 per year, but through You Me Capital, they can increase their income at least 20%. But You Me Capital is not just about income. They can also help migrant workers to save at least 3 hours per month instead of going to the bank and finding ways to send money back home. They can also help them to access microloan up to $500 instead of going to get shark loans in the black market. They can enjoy better working environment and social support and solidarity among their peers.
And where are we now? Our traction at the moment, Giúp Việc already been in the market for 5 years, and currently we have more than 2,000 active workers working on the market. With the e-wallet, after more than 10 years in the market, they have 2.2 million users. And with Care Vietnam, they are having 25,000 saving group members. So with that foundation, this is our plan.
Our plan is to take a phased approach to integrating these three models. First, CARE will offer savings groups to 300 Zut Viet workers. This will provide a stepping stone to formal financial services from the bank. Second, we will integrate the e-wallet into the Zut Viet platform. Third, we will digitise the savings groups by integrating an independent module into the Zut Viet app. Together, we will reach 10,000 workers by December 2021. So tonight, we need your support to invest in UMI Capital, connect us with potential investors, or provide pro bono support.
And at the moment, we are at the foundation of a 10-story building, so we would like to have up to 100-story building in terms of infrastructure and system design by technology.
So what do we need to realise our vision? CARE needs a grant of $300,000 to expand savings groups to 10,000 Zut Viet workers. This money will be used to further refine the savings group for Zut Viet workers in the urban cities, to set up new groups, and to set up an agent network within Zut Viet to support the scale-up.
And in our terms, Zut Viet is requesting $2 million for equity investment in Syria, Iraq. With this money, we can create stable jobs for more than 30,000 women.
So please join us, UMI Capital, to help thousands of women like them to realize their dreams.
Thank
you.
All right, great, Yumi. So Marcus, you want to try this one on for size?
Yes. All right.
And again, face the audience when you respond. Yeah.
Great. I think you guys are doing some amazing work, and it's absolutely telling with the numbers that you've shown. I'm interested in what challenges you're currently facing with infrastructure and how you're planning to overcome those.
Challenges with infrastructure.
Yeah, like this. You know, we are in a country that's developing, so actually, in terms of technology, we don't have an official university to teach the guys in terms of coding, programming. Mm-hmm. So we are doing with that's not the basic foundation. So we got to face a lot of problem when scale up. For example, from 1 story to 10 story, it's easy for us, not so difficult. But on the 10 story up to, and we face a lot of difficult because we don't have a basic background in terms of technology. So we need you guys to support on technology to build the infrastructure, so have us to build a 100-story building.
So just to clarify, so like Ming explained, so the foundation for a 5-story building is one thing, but if you put a 100-story building on a 5-story platform, the thing will fall over. Right. So basically, you know, it's like Uber, it's like Grab, there's a lot of tech support behind that is needed to build a really robust app that doesn't fail, you know, on demand.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so I see the challenges from the development side, but what about the user adoption side? How are you guys reaching consumers, and how are you making sure that they're able to successfully, you know, use the app, that they have the hardware to actually download the app and those sorts of things?
Okay, for this guy, we already passed that phase already. You know, for the beginning, it's very difficult for the woman to use the application. But now all of our workers, they are using application because they must use that one to get a job. And what we do is that we gradually get them into the application. For example, if they push the button to use this function in the application, they can get some small money. The next day, they use the other function, they get some small money.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way we do.
And the other thing is too that Vietnam borders China, so there's a lot of cheap smartphones in the market in Vietnam. Okay. So there's over 80% penetration of smartphones in Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, lovely. Thank you, Yumi. And Marcus, thank you. All right, no one should be able to argue against education, right? And introducing it as early as possible. So in Morocco, 1,200 villages in rural areas lack any kind of preschool facility. And poor children are, of course, less likely to enroll in school. So Bright Horizons fights to improve the quality of preschool education for disadvantaged children. This group has worked with targeted preschool units to operate as social enterprises and support women to learn entrepreneurship. And these skills will help them in managing their lives, running their lives, and really sustaining these local schools. From CARE Morocco, please welcome Bright Horizons.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Emma. And I am Fatem Zahra. I am Moroccan and I am educated, so I am exceptional. Only 30% of Moroccan women are educated and they are working. The other 70%, they are excluded from the labor market, and that's due to three main reasons. The first one, lack of qualifications. The second one, there are no preschool units where they can drop off their 3 to 6 year olds. And the third one, women are often encouraged to stay at home in Morocco. Now, meet Nadia. Nadia was unemployed. She was part of the 30%, but she had motivation. She started the first ever preschool in her slums. She charges $30 per month, and she offers scholarships for orphans and for the children who cannot afford it. She is a social entrepreneur.
Nadia's slum is quite common. There are not enough preschool classes in Morocco, and those that exist are either too expensive or of low quality. How would you feel if you had to send your children to that preschool class in the picture? Not very well, right? So that preschool used to be, it's a real preschool class in Casablanca. It used to be a garage. There are no windows, no books, no toys, no sinks, and on top of everything, the teacher has received no training. And yet, 85% of the children's brain is developed in the first 5 years of their life. So how can we lift up the next generations if this is where they begin?
With so much resting on the shoulders of women entrepreneurs, CARE set out to learn how we can help them. And this is where we met Nadia. Nadia was struggling. She had no support. Her business was going, she couldn't afford to start a business, so CARE offered her trainings on early child education and business planning. And this is how it looks like, from gloomy prospects to brighter horizon.
And CARE has been running this program, this preschool program, since 2008, and tested our model in 118 preschool classes, together with government officials. This experience allowed the Ministry of Education frame the first standards for preschool education in 2018. And the experience was so successful that a partnership agreement was signed between the Ministry of Education and CARE Morocco last year. And in order to help them open some of the 57,000 new classrooms that need to be open in the next 10 years. And in case you were wondering, that is the president of CARE Morocco signing the partnership agreement with the Minister of Education of Morocco.
The primary challenge we are facing today is we are training in person, and we can train only 25 people at a time. That's why we came up with a solution. It's an e-learning platform called Bright Horizons. It will solve three main issues. The first one, we will train teachers on early child education. We will enable them to have jobs and be qualified. The second problem we're solving is we are enabling women who are willing to be entrepreneurs We are training them also on social entrepreneurship. And also, women who are qualified and willing to work somewhere else, they will have safe places where they can drop off their children.
So on year 1, the platform will be developed and tested both in Arabic and in French. And training will be free until year 3, where most users will start paying a fee and would allow even to make profits on year 4. By year 5, 17,200 entrepreneurs and teachers will have been trained and received a certificate recognized by the government. With Bright Horizons, we reduced the cost of training one person from $2,000 with a face-to-face training to $48 with this online platform. But this is not only about training 17,200 preschool professionals. It is about having an impact and improving the lives of 1 million preschoolers in the next 5 years.
To scale up Bright Horizons, we will need an initial investment of $2 million over 5 years. And since we are impacting the life of 1 million children, it's only $2 per child. But as we go back next week to Morocco, we need to start now. And that's why we need a $15,000 that will enable us to develop one model out of our models that we'll be offering in the platform. We will also need in-kind donations like tablets and computers, and also pro bono support relevant to what we are doing, like IT or social entrepreneurship. By participating in our project, you can take pride yourself by shaping brighter horizons of a generation of Moroccans that will lead our country. Thank you. Shukran.
Shukran.
All right, questions from Laura James, and then remember to look at the audience when you reply.
Excellent. Hello, ladies. Thank you so much. I have a couple of questions for you. You mentioned that the Ministry of Education already launched a new program, so your program would be supporting that program and helping to train the actual directors and teachers in this preschool program. So can you clarify for me, so the government is actually funding some of this, but you need additional money, or is this particular program is just to make it happen faster?
So actually, public education in Morocco starts at the age of 6 years old, so that is primary school. And the government is now aware that preschool education is really important. Okay. The problem is that they have realized that they cannot afford it. So this is why they're counting on the private sector and associations to help them do this. So they know that there are 57,000 new preschool classes that need to be opened in the next 10 years, and they have requested associations like Care Morocco and a handful of others, as well as private entrepreneurs that are willing to support this adventure.
Excellent. And then the directors, or I assume there's a large area that this program would span. Are you sourcing the teachers, the directors from the communities themselves, or are you training, the ones you have trained so far, are they going out into the areas that need them? Is it, are you building it from the communities, or are you shipping people into the communities?
Yes, it's actually from the communities. And so far, we've been working in preschool education since 10 years now. And most of the entrepreneurs, the women who open preschools, they open them in their community because they are aware of the challenges, and the children, they don't have where to stay. So because of this care for their community, that's why they open in their community.
Excellent. And so you would be working together with the government to fund this, and you mentioned you're looking for $15,000 now, but $2 million eventually. Can you repeat again, I'm sorry, for the $15,000 that you're looking for, and then that $2 million, how that gets deployed?
Yes. Actually, the $2 million is for 5 years. It's for creating the platform. It's for the whole project.
Okay.
Creating the platform, the modules, and also we will have some leaders within the communities that will train the women on how to use technology. And so it needs also a project manager. So it's the whole project. $15,000 is for developing one module. And we are developing 30 modules. We are aiming to develop 30 modules on the platform.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you to Bright Horizons. Thank you, Laura. And thank you to all of our teams. Bright Horizons, UME, AGAP, TESFA, COZO Girls, and of course, thanks to our judges, Laura Dames, Robin Boggs, and Marcus Saab. Okay, so it's time to cast your vote if you haven't already. And you need to do that on the app. The judges will then take your votes into consideration as they whittle down their thoughts on their deliberations for the teams. And I'd also now like to introduce Mark Muckerberg, CEO of CARE Social Ventures, to explain what happens next.
Thanks, Frederica.
All right.
All right, well, I'll talk for a moment while you guys are voting. So, like Frederica mentioned, I'm Mark Muckerhead. I'm the CEO of CARE Social Ventures. CARE Social Ventures is a company that's owned by CARE, and our job is to help philanthropic programs convert into financially sustainable social enterprises. So the reason I'm talking tonight is based on our connection with Scale by Design and talk about what happens when these participants graduate from Scale by Design. So, and to do that, I'm going to give you an example of an alumni of this program. So Chimoka came to the program a couple years ago, and you guys have heard a little bit about some of the savings groups that CARE works with. Well, there's 7 million savers that CARE works with annually, with about 300,000 savings groups. One of the biggest issues that they have, and that helps them create an informal financial network and have savings, but one of the biggest issues that they have worldwide is that they can't get into the formal financial sector. So if you're a woman in a savings group in Tanzania and you show up to the Bank of Tanzania and say, I'd like a checking and savings account, they say, well, that's nice. Like, you have no credit history. We have no way to verify that you can do checking and savings with us. So the team, the CARE Savings team, decided that they were going to try and figure out what's the solution to this. And so they decided that they were going to create a mobile application called Chimoka. So what this lets the women in the savings group do, if you've got a savings group of about 20, 25 people, is they can now keep their ledgers on a digital ledger instead of handwriting it. And then we worked with the Bank of Tanzania to say, what do you need to be able to verify the women so they can get checking and savings accounts? And made it easy for them to verify them and made it easy for the women to show up and get the checking and savings accounts to help get them into the formal financial sector. So where the bridge is here is Chimoka came to Scale by Design a couple years ago and really helped them throughout the course of the year, helped them think about what would it take to scale. So how do they help, how can Chimoka help the 7 million, primarily women in the savings group, get into the formal financial sector? And more broadly, how can they eventually help the 600 million women that are unbanked in the world become banked? Because that is a huge step out of extreme poverty. So what happened with that situation is Chimoka got funding through the Scale by Design program, got the skills that they needed to help launch the program, had their scale plan, and then they were able to graduate into CARE Social Ventures. So now CARE Social Ventures works with them, and we'll work with them over the next 3 to 5 years to help them convert from a philanthropic program into a company. We'll help them find a CEO, we'll help put a board in place, we'll help make sure they have a strategy and a finance and funding structure that helps convert them over into eventually a financially sustainable corporation that doesn't need to take on philanthropy anymore and continue to help millions of people through the marketplace instead of through philanthropy. So currently, CARE Social Ventures works with 9 to-be social enterprises. So these are all 9 programs that were philanthropically funded, are currently philanthropically funded. We're raising $8 million right now to help those 9 programs convert over into social enterprises. So we're always looking for that funding. So we're going to try and help those 9 enterprises convert into financially sustainable companies. And then we're also always looking for board seats and pro bono volunteering. So these are businesses. These are businesses in healthcare and education, and women's economic empowerment and the financial systems. They're in all the continents that we work in Asia, Africa, Eastern Europe, and in Latin America. So if you're interested in those, I'll be at the stage. I'll be at the other room up on the stage after this. And that's the story of the connection between Scale by Design and where those entrepreneurs go after this. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. All right, Mark. Michelle, would you like to come back?
So first of all, can you all join me in thanking the amazing Frederica? We see her on the news, but I have to say that this backdrop of inspiration was different from what you're usually reporting on and showcasing. So, but thank you for doing such a beautiful job, and thank you for joining us for the second year in a row. We're incredibly grateful.
Thank you so much.
I also want to say, is anybody envy the judges tonight? The good news is you all get to vote yourself to participate, but more importantly, you get to think about how you could help these teams. And some of you may be able to make a donation. I think our count right now is that we're at $1,600. And I want to tell you, at this time last night, when we were doing kind of our rehearsal practice round, we were at $25. And somehow, over the next 30 minutes, we went to $4,000. So I'm feeling a little competitive, and I'm wanting to get our numbers up. As an Atlantan, I'm also feeling a little competitive because we're going to New York and San Francisco, and I want to be able to talk about Atlanta's contributions. So that's just one way that you can contribute, but each of you has a network and a set of connections that could be profoundly impactful with these teams. So if you're like me, you probably can't write the $2 million check. But you could potentially, if you're like me, think about, gosh, if I created an alliance of friends or networks, maybe I could actually partner with one of these teams and come up with $20,000. We could have fundraisers. We could gather together. We could think about how we could create a unique partnership to make these dreams and these visions a reality. So that's what I hope that you will think about over the next 30 minutes. Over the next 30 minutes, our judges are going to do the hard work of picking a winner. And that winner will receive a contribution pro bono, $25,000, and also cash, $25,000. That's exciting. But my hope is that every single one of these teams will walk out of here with a firm commitment of partners. And so what you have the opportunity to do now is, while the judges are making these tough calls, you have the opportunity to meet with these teams. So if the CARE team facilitators back here can wave, if y'all look at these folks back here, they can help facilitate the conversations with the team members. And even if it's just that you want to learn more about what their theory of change is, or how they're going to do this, or what they would use their $20,000 for, I hope that you'll go on to do that. So thank you all very much for being with us tonight. We're going to join in Studio J. We'll follow a team of volunteers to get there for a reception, for drinks, for conversation, for inspiration, and for partnership and solidarity and connection with these teams. And finally, we hope that if you're new to CARE, that this will be the beginning of a journey with us. There's a whole set of possibilities for how you can participate with us. But coming up next week is International Women's Day. And Dar said, and I think fundamental to all of the teams that you've heard from tonight, is the belief that we will not overcome poverty in the world, and we will not achieve social justice until we have achieved true gender equality and gender justice. So we hope that you'll begin. Girls, we run this mother.